Okay. So this is Aisha Aslam, and I'm working as an academic skills representative in a UMT Connected department, that is the sales division. And we are having these all sessions in this week and in the past weeks. And now today we are having that session. So all this is to assist our faculty members in UMT and our students. And the main agenda is no faculty and no course is left behind. And as you all know from that poster, that this session would be hosted by the Mr. Syed Ghulam Murtaza, and he is not well right now. So kindly pray for him that he will continue these sessions in a very hosted these sessions in a very good way that he is doing. And today's session and today's topic is going to be very interesting and to the point, inshallah. So, first of all, I would like to thank all the participants for joining this session. And especially, I would like to thank our guest speaker, Ms. Khushbak Kesar. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for giving us time and sharing her valuable knowledge with us. So, thank you so much, Miss.
You're welcome. You're
All
welcome. Thank you
right.
for being
Thank you
here.
so much, Miss Aisha, for introducing Miss Khushbat Kaisar. This is Saibzadi and I'm Rashid. First of all, um, let's start. Let's begin. Before we start, in the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful, I, Sahibzadi Anam Rashid, working as an officer trainer soft skills in UMT Connected, would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all here today and thank you for taking the time out from your busy schedule and making the effort to attend these webinar series on I Olark, therefore I am. Um, and we wish you just join us again in the other series as well. So let me introduce our honorable speaker for today, Ms. Khushbakt Kaisar. She has done LLM from University of Sheffield, UK. She's an assistant professor from SLP, Advocate High Court, Lahore. She has accomplished career in law of 9 years, demonstrating consistent success as a lawyer and as an educationist at different universities and teaching company law, constitutional law, international trade law, research methodology, and criminal law at undergrad and postgraduate level. Published a book by the title of The Company Law in Pakistan by Publishers Emporium and wrote several research articles published locally and internationally. Experienced in conceiving and developing programs for students and worked as a research advisor in different research reports. Also having extensive background of writing and research both as a strategic litigator and as an educationist. So thank you so much for joining in, Ms. Khushbat Kaisar.
Thank you very much. Thank
I'll
you.
give a little background of this webinar series, I Olark, therefore I am. Why are we conducting these sessions? First of all, there are some faculty members who just joined us recently. They're not aware of this template. What is this OLARC all about? So OLARC is an acronym, uh, and O stands for overview, L stands for learning activities. Uh, then we have assessments, recommended resources, concluding remarks. So in the previous semester, we were following a standardized OLAC template for all the courses. We have around 2,650 courses at UMT, Lahore, and Sialkot. But in this semester, we are, after that open dialogue session happened, with all the CODs and deans, we reached out to all the CODs and we discussed with all the faculty members. We came up with a school specific OLA template. So now in this semester, we all are following that template. And now Ms. Khushbakt Kaisar is going to walk us through her course. And over to you, Ms. Khushbakt. All the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anam, for having me here today. Always, I always appreciate the efforts done by all of the people associated with this setup. And initially, yes, I won't say that it was very, it was a very, very easy, path to tread on. But yes, initially, after getting all the support from the concerned departments at UMT, faculty like me and also my colleagues, they were managed to actually, understand the basic concept of, teaching online. Before I just walk you through my course, one of my courses, because I know I started using it initially. It was very difficult for me because it was always very first time for me to learn and to getting online and stuff. But gradually, I believe that because of the situation which we had, I couldn't find anything better in teaching while adopting all the facilities and all the softwares which were designed and available for us through in UMT. I've made a short presentation before getting into the subject and my LMS screen. So if you allow me, I would like to share that presentation, because in social sciences, in this discipline, we believe that visually, because now we are teaching online as well, so I always consider it very useful if the slides are shown to the participants or the discussions are made into points. So if you allow me, I would like to share this presentation which I've made. And once I'm done with it, it is a very a short presentation, so it won't take more than 2 to 3 minutes, and then we can actually get into LMS and then question answers if somebody
All
has to
right,
ask.
perfect. So are you able to share your screen? Okay, perfect. We can view it.
Okay, now, basically, my presentation is divided into three different aspects. Firstly, I would want to know, because one of my colleagues over here also, they wanted to actually understand that why it is very important for us to be familiar with all the technological advancements, and because some of us were still from the old school and we prefer to have an interactive session rather than going online where participants are quite passive. So this was a very tough task for me to begin with, for a majority of the faculty members, I'm sure. So in order to start with all, I just wanted to say that it is very essential to link or to interconnect the pedagogy and technology with the context, because for students, for faculty, and for all the other aspects involved in it, it was very complicated to begin with. But sooner or later, because we've been online, it's been a year now, so we are actually have tamed ourselves, or we trained ourselves to be on this path effectively. Okay, for first and foremost, I would want to know I would want all the participants to know that what is the impact of online education in academics, right? So first and foremost, we see that there are a lot of benefits of use of technology in teaching, and there are some sort of downsides as well. So first and foremost, I would want to discuss the benefits which we can acquire while using technology in the classroom. I'm addressing the concern of the faculty when they say that it is very difficult for us to use, it is very difficult for our students to apprehend what we tend to make them understand. So I believe that it is very beneficial, and because it has through technology, a lot of opportunities can be created both for students and for teachers. For us, for faculty, we know that it was not we were not familiar with the technological aspects of teaching, but now we are. So we are more, beneficial. We are more like productive, I believe. We are more, in line with the technology as per our students. So it has a lot of benefits. So while discussing some benefits or its impact on the teaching, I just I highlighted some sort of basic, parts of it. Technology basically improves in engagement between student and teachers. It improves the knowledge retention. Like we say that, when students are engaged and they're interested in some sort of a topic or, things, it is very easy to, engage them in a way that their understanding can be more, what do you say, more interactive, because when you show them some sort of visuals, when you make some sort of diagrams, some charts, it is always easy for them to understand, right? Then we say that technology basically, I believe that it encourages individual learning. Individual learning to the extent that different styles are adopted, different abilities are untapped, and by use of different technological aspects, we can create a lot of opportunities. Students can learn their own speed, they can review different concepts, and they know how to actually skim different documents, because at times book reading, or when you are giving lecture them, when we are giving them in person, so it gets a little bit difficult for them to go through all the documentations and all the books and chapters in one go. So I believe that technology actually helps you in the it encourages the individual learning. It encourages collaboration to the extent that when students are given different presentations, different tasks to do in groups, so they can actually, by the use of different resources, they can come up with some good sort of presentations and stuff. Then students can learn useful skills through technology as well, I believe. And for teachers, the most important part, and for which I would vouch for that, is that there are countless online resources, and through technology, teachers actually can use different apps to make their traditional way of teaching more updated, more upgraded. So I believe that virtual lesson plans, I believe, and grading softwares, they are very, very helpful. And I believe that it's about time that we should be putting ourselves more into it, and rather than we should be what do you say, instead of sulking about it, or instead of saying that we should not be doing this and it is not very useful. It is very useful. It actually gives you a value of time, and I believe that
Absolutely.
if we use it, it can be very, very useful. Now technology basically helps us to while technology integration, we can make our experience more successful. Like faculty can be more successful when you integrate different technological aspects. What are the benefits? The benefits can be redefinition, modification, augmentations, and substitution. These are the four traits, from transportation, from transformation to enhancement. If we follow these four, I think that we can have more successful experiences. Now, quickly coming to the, I can take the, if there are any questions, I will take them. But I believe that I just want to finish it. It's going to end in like a minute or two.
Okay.
Challenges. Yes, challenges. If we talk about the what challenges can be faced, or they are mostly faced by the faculty, are as stated below on the screen. Isolation, as I just mentioned, that we are not very we're not very what do you say, comfortable when it comes to our participants which are passive. So learning from home can be a bit more difficult. Then lack of motivation in online learners at times, certain because a student is sitting on in a place on, or something is going on behind him or her, so at times it is very difficult to make the students focus. Or then technological difficulties, obviously internet, it's not easily available, and most of the students, they face a lot of difficulty, and out of that issue same is faced by the faculty, because they have to, they take resets, and quizzes need to be taken again, because some students cannot attend the class on that particular day because of certain internet issues. And then last but not the least, at times time consuming resources, because most of the students and faculty at times, they are not very much well versed about the technological usage of different resources. So this becomes one of the issues. Now how to solve the challenges, because we know as a faculty, as instructors, we need to have some sort of mechanisms through which we can actually solve their issues. So obviously I've highlighted three basic issues which I think which needs to be addressed, which needs to be understood by the faculty. First challenge is passive students, and what instructional strategy which can be opted when a student is passive, because we know that in online instruction, students can turn into passive observers rather than active participants. So this issue actually occurs mostly amongst most of our faculty, and for that matter, what strategy which I would devise to them, or what I would think that would be helpful for them, is that it is very important to help and engage students through your course material. And what I do generally is that, I before my lecture starts, I put everything what I'm going to discuss in the lecture on LMS on the concerned week, or the week which is like, if we are going through like 12th week of the session. And for that matter, every detail other than the recordings, obviously, because recordings are uploaded after the session ends. But yes, I try to upload everything in advance. But why is it helpful in my case is that because students have access to whatever they're going through, or whatever material I'm discussing in the class beforehand with them. So this is what I believe, that a strategy is useful. Next challenge is obviously staying connected with students. In online classroom, we know that it is very difficult at times to completely connect with the students. They also at times feel disconnected because from the instructor, because somebody is not in front of them, and something which is not engaging. So for that matter, what strategy I would suggest is that feedback. uh, what I do is that, I always ask my students at the end of the lecture that what are the points which they think they need more understanding on. And during the lectures, what I do is that I keep asking my students by their name to tell me about their understanding, to tell me about their analysis, and feedback to the extent of what would have been better understood. To the extent of that, I don't ask them to evaluate my skills, because I believe that that is something which is not part of my delivering lecture. So this is completely their this is their ambit to deal on. But what I do is that a non-evaluative feedback is what I take after every lecture before it ends. And the last issue and the challenge, but I think that we need a better, or I devised a strategy upon, is I encourage collaboration. I ask students, because obviously if at first they are not in their class. Secondly, there is no connection between the instructor and the students. So what I do is that I actually ask them to collaborate. I make groups. Whatever assignments I give to them, I try to make them do some sort of a collectively or collaborative problem solving sort of a thing, which helps them to discuss the matter in detail further. And it develops some sort of a constructive feedback about their classmates as well. So I think that this is how I deal with all the issues which I think they are the most important one. And lastly, I believe that all the challenges and all the issues can be properly addressed if we actually develop a learning community. And how do we develop a learning community? We can develop learning community through this. I've just find out it very interesting and very, very effective. Content, obviously, collaboration between students, generated content, self-paced independent study, because there are certain elements, if you highlighted to them that you have to go to this particular journal and you have to find out your concerned article from there, so it makes them easier for them to get hold of that and to understand it. Dialectic questioning, uh, as I told you that after before the end of the lecture, I asked them to ask me questions. They can ask me in between the lecture, during the lecture, but I encourage them to note down their points of concern, and they can discuss with me one by one. Then evaluation assessment, which is we have in UMT, we are running a different software for that, so that is also very, very useful. Social and emotional connectivity, which is also part of a very a very effective learning community. And last but not the not the least, reflection. I always ask my students to reflect, because in England, I believe that when I was teaching there, I was not teaching, I was a student there. So what we were asked by our instructors was to reflect. And every day they used to tell us that while sleeping, if you cannot do that, because in student life the schedules are at times very, 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 very tight. So for that matter, it is always better to reflect. It's always better to write something what you've learned today. So I believe I try to inculcate the same things in my students, and thankfully in my experience it has been very, very useful. So for this short presentation has ended. Now, if there are any questions related to my faculty, which I could help my fellows, I would do that. But I would share my LMS also with you, so that yes, it's over there. Now I will share how I operate. I hope this presentation was not that much, it was quite understandable. If not, I can share the same with the concerned department, and they can actually, use that for their usage. Now, if you can see my screen, although I was looking into certain other presentations, this OLAC, which has conducted since like few days. So majority of the like this issue and how to connect and how to actually get to the LMS and everything was resolved. Has been discussed. So I won't take that much time in order to discuss it again and again. What you can see over here is that this is how I operate. Like this course of mine is of legal system of Pakistan, and the way I've actually structured it and the way I've actually made things available for my students, it's very simple. Some of my students actually they told me that we cannot have access to LMS because of we are living somewhere in Balochistan or in KPKN area, and where internet connectivity is not much very sound. So how to go about it? So I just asked them one some very simple question, that whether you can have access to, like, whether you have access to your Gmail. So they used to say yes. And through that, what I used to do is that whatever lecture or whatever material, whatever recording links I upload on LMS, I send them the concerned link, which they actually get access from wherever they are. So this is what I found it very, very useful. Now what I did was that I put all the outlines over here. Then week by week, what I do is that all the material which is I discuss, I will supply them through this in advance. And yes, recordings and everything which are part of the e-learning, most important part of the e-learning thing, I upload them once the lecture has ended. So today, like in today's class, it was my 12th session. So what I did was that in the lecture content, I mentioned that what are we going to discuss today, and what are we going to have for further discussion. It was uploaded to LMS as well. So for me, anything which you can put over here, it is very, 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 very helpful. I believe we have a lot of options over here through which we can basically engage our students. We can provide them help with. If there is a book, we have I have a scanned copy of that book. I just click that over here and upload it. So assignments, whatever assignment is given to them, it is always uploaded here. If there are files in terms of documents, outlines, or material, journal articles, they can be found in file. Certain international journals or certain resource what do you say, websites, they are not accessible. So what I do in that instance, that in URL I just post its link. So for that matter, students can over here I just type that this link is for that particular journal or that particular website, and I share the link with them, so that what helps them to have access to that without any interruption. So this is what my experience has been, alhamdulillah, very, very success, like very, very easy for me, because I think I started doing it from the very first day. Obviously our experts, they actually helped us, the stars, people from from different departments in UMT, they were very helpful in making me learn all this. And in my department, I believe that all of us are using it very, very effectively, and we are trying to make things easily available for our students. Any other concern, any other question, I would like to answer if there are any questions, or just tell me whatever. Ji, Mustafa has raised his hand.
यस मैम, अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैम। मेरा एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन था कि मैम अगर आप ब्रीफली 2-3 सेंटेंसेस के अंदर आप बता दें कि मैम बेसिकली एक जो लॉयर होता है उसके पास कौन कौन से डिजिटल स्किल्स होने चाहिए, डिजिटली उसको कितना डिजिटली फॉर बिगिनर कितना उसको डिजिटली लिटरेट होना चाहिए, उसको क्या क्या चीज, यानी कि इंटरनेट का क्या क्या इस्तेमाल आना चाहिए या कंप्यूटर का क्या क्या इस्तेमाल आना चाहिए।
अच्छा, बेसिकली देखो मुस्तफा, आपका क्योंकि योर क्वेश्चन माइट बी नॉट उसके लिए बाकी जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं उनके लिए शायद थोड़ा सा जो है वो एलियन क्वेश्चन हो, बट यस, एज फार एज द आंसर इज कंसर्न, आई बिलीव दैट अब जो स्पेशली जो हमारे आजकल का दौर चल रहा है, द सिचुएशन वी आर इन, इट इज वेरी अनलाइकली टू से और टू seek equipped with the technological gadgets. Everyone has access to internet, everyone has their own cell phones, so the point is different mediums. So I believe that for a lawyer, for a practicing person, this much access or information is enough, which our students, which we in general have these days. Most importantly, there is a lot of reading. As a lawyer, like when we practice, we have to refer to a lot of judgments, a lot of case laws, a lot of case studies. So for that matter, we need to know, we need to have that much information with us, or that much technical, what do you say, skill, through which we know that how to access to different resources, how to get hold of different case studies, how to get hold of different relevant material. I believe for practice, you don't need to be very very well equipped with all the you shouldn't be a IT expert for that matter. A basic understanding of resources and how to use them is enough, because in law, this is some sort of a discipline in which your material is you have to if you want to argue a case, then for that matter you need to have access to different books, different laws, different applications of those laws, and that would be sufficient. Yes, anybody else? Okay, there's a question which says that we study online, and finals are maybe holding on campus, so it's difficult for students. What is your opinion on that? Well, I'm not here actually. Basically, I cannot give you a definitive answer about that whether exams will be on campus or not. Still, we haven't been notified about that. But yes, we understand that it is some sort of a very difficult situation. One of my student, asked me even that, ma'am, we've studied throughout the semester online. So how would be possible for us to actually, give an exam on campus? So yes, definitely, faculty at UMT, at your concerned departments, it is there to facilitate you. I find, not because of the fact that I work here, but I find UMT very very accommodating, very very when it comes to some sort of resolving any issues pertaining to students. I've seen that there's a lot of support given to the students and the participants. So at first and foremost, all the students, I know they're concerned, but they should not worry about it, because we are here to facilitate them. And if something which is if we be notified that the exams will be on campus, that's, yes, definitely we will accommodate them, and we will make sure that we won't face any difficulty. Anything else? You're welcome. Okay, I think we are not, we don't have any other questions. But before, if some of us would like to ask me something, I have a very interesting video. I would want to share it with the participants, because I found it very interesting. It tells you about that why technology is important in a classroom. So just, it's a brief video for like 2 minutes, and I think it would be very very interesting to look into it. So please bear with me for the next 2 minutes. So yes, with this, I believe that this video actually summed up my presentation as well, because there are a lot of good aspects attached with all this, technology and the teaching online. We actually considered it very stalemate, very boring in the beginning, and we thought, I consider myself as well one of those who would like, who would want, think about it like a very difficult thing to do. But I believe that it has a lot of options, and if we continue exploring more, I think we'll be able to uh, uh, make our education system, more appropriate and very up to date. Yes, that's one my side. Any other questions?
Okay, ma'am, have you concluded that session?
Yes, I've concluded the session.
Okay, thank you so much. And it was a very interesting session. And we were very pleased to see your active participation and your presentation. Your animations are just very perfect. So I hope all the participants have joined that session. And now, if you have guys any query regarding this session, you can unmute your mics. You can use your icons and reaction icons, and can raise your hand. So we will be easily be kind of you that you can ask your questions right away. So over to you, participants. You can even use the chat box as well, so we can easily keep an eye on that.
Two of the participants actually asked a question from the chat box, and I answered that. I believe so. Yes.
Guys, it would be very productive session, as if you guys raise your hand for the questions, that we will be aware that you were the part of that session, and your active participation would be very appreciated by us. I think the participants have understood all the things, or have not understood even the small thing. So, okay, no problem at all. And we will conduct the same sessions on the different topics. And in the next time, and we will text you or email you and inform you for the other sessions. And thank you again. Thank you so much, Ms. Khushbak Kaisar, for that productive session. We will be very pleased to see you in the next sessions onwards on the different topics on such this type of the presentation. And this is all. So thank you so much everyone for joining this session, and best of luck for your semester, and Allah Hafiz. Thank you so much.